Hey, you can lock in your price with me for the rest of this year if you book yourself a discovery call before the end of 2024. My name's Rachel from Aussie Online Growing on Shopify.com.au, and I help small micro businesses grow online in Australia. If you're looking for more customers, more website traffic, more eyes on your brand, more leads and more conversions and more sales, and you want to understand how the process works, how does a customer even find me to begin with, and how do I know where they found me, and then how do I know how to nurture them? I encourage you to book a discovery call with me before the end of this year. You will lock in the price on my website. My prices will go up on the 1st of January 2025, but if you book a discovery call now on the website, if you just make your booking before the end of 2024, the prices on my website will be the price you pay. You can work with me for just 30 days as well. I don't offer huge long retainer packages on my website. Those things I chat about with clients in person, but I really want to sort of like help you feel as secure and comfortable as possible in working with me for the first time. So you can book just a 30-day project window, and I can help you with a specific project in your Shopify business to help you with Facebook ads, customer journeys, and email mapping, email marketing, to really get you further along in where you are, to get you some data to help you make better decisions about the next steps in growing your e-commerce brand. Head to my website and book yourself a free discovery call. You can actually put it right in my calendar. It's just a 25-minute call. It's free. And if you do it before the end of 2024, the price on my website will be fixed for you. If you're an existing customer or an existing client of mine, then you have the locked-in price. Feel free to send me an email and we can work together for a 30-day project window, whether it's this year or next year in 2025. Whenever it is, if you are a previous client, the price will stay the same for you. You won't have to worry about it going up. Hey, my name's Rachel. Welcome to Aussie Online Growing on Shopify. This is episode 108, and I want to talk to you today about tasks or projects you might have planned or want to plan for January 2025. So as 2024 comes to a bit of a close, I'm recording this now, it's nearly December. My Black Friday is in place. Sales are going well. I've got some things planned for December, but my, shipping window to cut off orders for Christmas delivery is pretty early in December, and then I'll probably roll into a Boxing Day sale. It's going to be very quickly January, and I want to have some specific work set aside for January that really needs like dedicated time and attention to it. And I think when I did this last year, because I reckon I recorded an episode about the same time last year, my list looks very similar. So you might see a bit of a theme here of some yearly tasks that are easy to shelve. This sort of work is easy to put off through the whole year, and you may find this for yourself. So are you collecting a bit of a list of things or projects, or even something, one project or one key idea you want to execute in January 2025 if you've got a bit of maybe downtime from volume of sales? This, of course, is very niche specific. If you ramp up over summer and sell a lot over summer, you'll be too busy for this sort of thing in January. So this might be things that you shelve or plan ahead to do when things are quieter in winter. I tend to be busier over winter than summer. So summer is the ideal time for me to take a bit of a break and a holiday and put things on hold for a couple of weeks and take some time out to relax and spend time with my family and lounge around the house. And B, do some project work or some big things that I have really put off all year that I want to sort of accomplish through January. So I have a couple of different lists going. I'm a bit of a bullet journaler. I'm a planner, so I do like lists. And you may be familiar with some of these terms as well, particularly the someday maybe list. This is a concept by David Allen. What's the book called? Getting Things Done. It's an incredible book. It's really worth reading if you're into productivity. So David Allen's book, Getting Things Done. It's an old book. It's been around a long time. It's been revised a couple of times. And in that book, he talks about a someday maybe list. And this is where you put everything that you want to do maybe or someday. And it's a capture all for all of those random things or projects or ideas and things that you just think maybe you would like to do someday, or maybe you want to do. there's no commitment to it. So you don't want to put something on there that has to be done in a particular time frame. So maybe you could start a someday maybe list. And particularly as you see things online that pique your interest, or you listen to things in my podcast or other people's podcasts that pique your interest, put those things into a list and maybe call it someday maybe list. And then once a year you can sit down with this list and look around it and through it and think, what is there something from this list that would benefit my business, not today, but in the future? This sort of work is much more forward focused. The things I want to do in January are not going to benefit me in January. Those sorts of things I'll talk about in another episode for my promo calendar, which are much more things to drive results and revenue and traffic sort of in the moment, to keep things ticking along and to keep the wheels turning in my business. But the things for January are not those sorts of tasks. They are much more the things that will benefit me long term. For instance, I haven't actually got this on my list, but you could have something on this list like plot out a bit of not a content calendar. It doesn't need to be that big, but your ideas for the next 12 blog posts to make sure you're publishing a blog regularly. Sit down and brainstorm what those topics will be for a year, even if you did one once a month instead of 52 posts, which would be like one a week. If that's just crazy big, then what about 12 blog posts next year in 2025? Can you sit down and think about those things and make that a project for January to come up with the topic and probably your intro paragraph? I find even with this podcast, if I just get my intro paragraph written, the rest is easy. The rest just comes in conversation. And you might find the same with blogging. Once you've got it's like when maybe when at school, when you used to write an essay, if you just get the first bit started, the rest potentially can flow from there. So maybe there's a project for you for next year. If you know that's something you have fallen behind in, you know how valuable SEO can be and is to your business, is that something you will feel better about now to schedule it for January? Because it'll stop nagging you if you put it down for your January tasks. The thing I like about the things I have here, once I determine I'm doing these things in January, I'm no longer stressing about them because they've got their allocated time now. I'm doing them in January. So they're not nagging me constantly of these things I know need to be done that I just haven't done because I'm doing them in January. Let me tell you what mine are. They're very basic, but in case you're interested, I need new product photos terribly. The product photos on my website were not great a year ago, and now a year on, they're really not good. I really need updated product photography. And I've tapped a few family and friends on the shoulder about helping me with this, and it's really gotten me nowhere. So I need to put some concerted time and energy into that in January. That's number one. I've definitely prioritized these items on my January task list. They are not in a random order. They are in order of what is sort of most critical and what needs to have some attention first. And the first one is new product photography. So like, who can do this for me? My husband has a really great camera and he does do photography himself as a bit of a hobby, but product photography, which many of you will have discovered with e-commerce, product photography is quite different from landscape photography or portrait photography. Like they do have quite their own skills to them. But his are still far better than mine, even just doing landscape photography. So he may help me with it. I've sort of suggested it. I probably need to do more than that and actually ask him to help me with it. So yeah, or pay someone to do it. I don't know, but that's the top of my list. That's, if I got nothing else done in January but that, I would actually feel pretty good. So maybe the top thing on your list for January should be that if nothing else, you got that one thing done, you would feel really good. So maybe don't list 10 things, or if you do, make sure the top one is like the thing that you know needs the most attention, your business needs the most attention. And if many of your things that you need to do in your business are just so many different things and none of them seem particularly more critical than any others, and you maybe just need a break, then put that at the top of your list. Like, there's nothing wrong with like taking a break and putting that at the top of your list for January, particularly if everything else sort of sits on the same tier as each other and nothing is glaring to you, because there's always new things to do, there's always a new problem to solve, something else new to experiment, and something else to optimize and improve. So this is a never-ending process. Like I said, I did do this same thing in January this year when I made the list at the end of 2023, but I didn't get the product photography done. I got some other stuff done. I think I updated my website copy, but this time the copy I will update anyway, probably as I'm doing photos, but the photos is the critical part for me. That's my top one. The second one is I need a solid lead generation strategy to run all year. In the last several weeks, I have been running a giveaway in my e-commerce store again to gather leads and build my email list. I haven't done this for 6 months now, and I shared in episode 106. I encourage you to go back and listen to that, about my current struggles with my e-commerce store. One of them was the fact that I have let lead generation fall to the wayside for 6 months. My returning customer rate is really, really high. So high, like 80% high, which is terrible because I'm exhausting the same group of people and I'm not bringing in enough new customers and enough new leads to my business. And that works for me so well with a giveaway. It worked all through 2023, but it stopped working as well at the start of 2024. Around April, it really sort of fell off a bit of a cliff. And I didn't pick it up again until October. So I've been doing that now for about 6 weeks, a giveaway running for like a monthly giveaway. And I haven't pulled the stats from that yet to see the results, because I actually have a very specific giveaway strategy. So it's not just adding these people to my email list with no other thought behind it. There's a whole back end flow in Klaviyo, and there's a process I go through at the end of the giveaway to garner those people as customers. And if they don't engage, then I suppress those emails. So there's actually a whole project around a giveaway. It's a whole strategy. If you just do a giveaway for the sake of it, it probably is a waste of your time if you haven't got some sort of measurable steps involved in it, or ways to collect those email addresses and ways to then evaluate after a period of time how they have performed. It probably is going to be a waste of your time. You may end up with just a heap of junky leads. I will get junky leads. I do get junky leads, but then I suppress them after I've cleaned them through a bit of a process. So I have a process around giveaway. So I'm saying that to let you know that now I'm doing a giveaway again. Next year, I really want to make sure I solidify this process in my mind. And I want to flip between giveaways and quizzes through 2025 to continue to grow my email list. That's what I was going to say. As well, in the last 6 weeks, having done this and running a giveaway for a little while, my engaged segment on Klaviyo has increased by 300 profiles. They are the people on Klaviyo who are engaged with my brand. They're the people I send an email to every week, is my engaged segment. And since starting my giveaway and beginning to collect these leads and doing some other top of funnel work as well, which I've talked about in many of my episodes in the lead up to Black Friday, and that's definitely paid off. And I can see that inside Klaviyo with my engaged segment. And the number my engaged segment has grown by, when it was quite stagnant for about 90 days. So it had hovered around the same number for about 90 days. And now it's increased by about 300 users, which is great, which I'm really pleased about. So I know that giveaways work well for me in building an email list and building engaged segments and building my business. Like, a bigger list means more customers, more people coming to your website. It's like it is how you can grow an e-commerce brand. I know email marketing is declining, like we all know that. That's no reason not to do it. The same reason why SEO is still important. It is declining, but it's not gone. And the same with email marketing. It is declining, but it's not gone. So that's something I definitely want to do in January, is just make sure I have a solid process around how I want to do giveaways and quizzes for 2025 and commit to doing that, because I know the benefit after not having done it for 6 months, how much value it really was bringing into my business. Sometimes we can get very distracted with what's new or shiny or like innovative or cutting edge, like hello AI, and we can neglect what we know works, or if we're not even sure how well it worked and we just think, oh, I'll just leave it for a bit and see. Then sometimes if you leave it for too long, I've really noticed a difference. So I'm sold on how valuable this is for me. It was massively valuable all through 2023. My email list, like my giveaway leads, just the people who joined my list from a giveaway, converted at 9%. In e-commerce, that's really high. And I'm interested to see with this current group of leads how well they convert. But if it's not heaps high, I'm not going to be discouraged. I know this is a long-term thing. So I'm committed to all next year, making sure I commit that to myself and my business, that I know how valuable giveaways or quizzes, any sort of lead generation activity works on, particularly on Meta, using an ad to garner and gather those leads and getting them onto my Klaviyo email list, putting them through a bit of a flow for having joined the giveaway. And then at the end of a giveaway or with a quiz, I'll have to work out the logistics of that. But at the end of a giveaway, making sure I clean those email leads and just keep the valuable ones and pop them into my welcome flow. And then they become part of my ecosystem. So that's my second thing. So my first one is new product photography. My second one is making sure I set out a solid lead generation strategy for 2025 that's going to fluctuate between giveaways and quizzes. They are the two things I plan on doing. And Meta is going to play a huge part in that one in particular. Meta and ads on Facebook and Instagram will be the main way I'm getting people into that list and into my ecosystem and my brand and my business because of a giveaway or because of a quiz. That is a Meta exercise. I want Facebook and Instagram to find those people for me. That's where I want to get the lists and the leads from. The email addresses will come from users on social media. That's one way that Meta will perform in 2025 well. I believe it's still going to continue to be a valuable way to collect leads, and I'm definitely going to leverage that in a big way next year. So I just want to make sure I set my mind right in January for that and set out a bit of a plan to make sure it's like solid. Then number 3, I did have 4, but number 3 is very similar, which is update the website copy. But that's what I had from last year, and I'm going to do that anyway when I'm taking new photos. So I don't feel like that's so critical. I honestly could stay the same as it is. But the third one would be a bit similar to number 2 in the sense that I want to make sure my organic social media strategy, I have that written, decided, planned out, a bit of an SOP, a bit of a standard operating procedure, something I can lean on and go to all next year to make sure I am getting and collecting and editing and publishing good organic social media. Again, I did an episode about this. It might be the previous one, 107, my predictions for social media in 2025. And spoiler alert, organic social media is absolutely making a comeback. So organic social media does play a big role in you getting good quality users to your website, particularly from Facebook and Instagram or Twitter or YouTube and all of those platforms. When I look inside my own Google Analytics account and clients' Google Analytics accounts, so far every time, organic social has featured as one of the top 3 or 4 drivers of quality traffic. And quality because either there's a revenue dollar associated with it, or more often than not, those people are spending a long time on your website. Often when I look at organic social media on a Google Analytics dashboard and metrics, those people are hanging around on your website for a long time, which means they're very active. They are clicking around, they are viewing product pages or blogs, maybe signing up for your pop-up. They're hanging around, which means they are the type of people you want on your website. There are only so many ways we can measure leads and traffic to our website, and the amount of time someone spends there is one of those metrics. And often with my own website through organic social media, people are spending like up to 60 seconds or more than 60 seconds on my website. That's really good. That is a good lead. That is somebody who's very intent and is very engaged. So if you have a look in your own GA4 account, just check and see how well your organic social media features as far as the number of users of how long they are hanging around on your website for. You might be surprised that organic social appears quite high. And then if you feel like it's a waste of time with organic social media, it's not. I promise you, it's really not. It can be a great revenue driver for our business. And hello, it is still free. It takes time. Like there is an investment in there, but it's a free platform. It is a free resource to leverage and to use. And all of us are spending more time on social media now than ever before. It's just the number of platforms is getting bigger. So I encourage you to think about organic social media again for your business if you had shelved it or thrown it out a couple of years ago, because it was different even just a couple of years ago. It does change rapidly. And even though it has been declining for years, it's absolutely on the increase again, particularly of a driver of good traffic to your website. And that's what you need. You need people to see your brand, find your brand, see your brand, engage with your brand, get to your website, hang around, come back again another time from seeing you on organic social media, or because they got an email from you, or because they saw an ad, or because you popped into their mind and they went to Google to find you, and they come again and again and again until they shop, until they purchase. The more time you can get somebody back to your website in a short window of time, the more likely they are to make a purchase. So that's my third top thing that I'm going to concentrate on in January. I plan to try and capture lots of content in January. I heard a really great interview with somebody on a podcast about a year ago now, actually, but I have listened to it again and again through the year as a bit of motivation for me, which is that the time for creating new is different than the time for scheduling. So when you talk about social media, the time for creating new content is different than the time for scheduling. So if you already have a product catalog, if you already have a heap of content on your phone or on your laptop, but you haven't yet scheduled it, go ahead and schedule it. That's your time to sit down and just spend time scheduling, because that takes priority. Getting things actually scheduled on social media takes priority over creating beautiful new videos and beautiful new images or stylized graphics to use on social media. Particularly if you already have a bank of things that you haven't scheduled, which I definitely do. I've got so many podcast episodes that I need to create into little snippets to use. And I have a whole product catalog on my e-commerce store with many products I haven't done their own. Maybe I could do like a product feature and feature a different product every week. And then that would get me covered for a couple of years. So go ahead and find what you already have, what you already posted last year, and repost it. Or sit down and capture a heap of stuff. I'm going to spend a lot of January capturing a lot of social media content, which means taking more photos and videos of my work and my customers' orders and my customers' creations and my products and things to do with this podcast. So I'm going to try and capture as much sort of raw things as I can in January, and then I can sort of start to do some work with that and in editing it and things like that. So that's my 3 for January. It's actually quite a bit when I'm saying it out loud now. So I feel like I've probably bitten off more than I could chew for January. Let's see how I go. But the top one will be the top one. I'm determined. New product photos. That is something I will absolutely get sorted in January. The other 2 things I would like to get sorted, and they are very, very important, but I could put them off until February if I needed to, for the sake of having a holiday. That's what I'm planning. I wonder what you are planning. I encourage you to think about this for yourself. And do you have a bit of a list of things that you could pull out, or a list of things you keep adding to? And choose something to do in January if you don't plan to take a holiday or something like that. And if your business is a bit quiet in January, and kind of get a start on a big project or knock out a big project, something that you have been putting off that you know is valuable for your business. Let me know. I'd love to know what it is. Thanks for hanging out with me today. As always, hey, keep learning.